Hello, everyone. Um, I hope you and your loved ones are well. Everybody can hear me all right? I hope so. I'm honored to offer the Dharma talk today titled Together Singing the Five Remembrances. As Pranell said, yeah, this is a really good reminder of our common ground. So to me, the word together is the key. My intention for this talk tonight is to hold a compassionate and safe space to experience the transformative teaching of five remembrances together. And this talk is inspired by my own practice of engaging my difficult inner chatters and thoughts. Um, and that practice, I've been having it for with an intention of can I cultivate compassion and curiosity even towards the inner chatter? And five remembrances have been so helpful. And some of you may know what the five remembrances is, and some of you may not. Before jumping right into that, I wanted to offer some reflections to get your mind reflection going also. So right now I'm visiting my parents in Korea. So that's what Cornell meant by tuning in from far away. Um, and as I'm visiting my parents lately, I've been noticing unmistakable signs of my parents aging. My mom wouldn't like me saying that, but it is what it is. And they're having more health problems. And as a family, my parents and I are grieving my brother who passed away in 2022. So this is where this inspiration for the talk is coming from. And I also wanted to pause here to make space for you. I know that I'm not alone in my struggles dealing with impermanence, ill health, and just difficulties. And know that my heart goes out to you and your own struggles too. And in that spirit, I want this Dharma talk to be a space for connection. If you will, I invite us to take 3 deep breaths together and let's kind of make our own version of metta meditation, sending one breath of compassion to your own struggle, one breath for your close one's struggle, who's struggling with impermanence, ill health, and so on. And if you will, one breath for Bobby. If you know her, she's given Dallas Meditation Center community so much of her love, and she's going through some family stuff. And let's take those 3 breaths, sending compassion for our collective struggles. If you'd like, you can take another breath for all the strangers in this world that are also going through the struggles, unmistakably. Thanks for that. So for me, whenever I'm giving Dharma talk, I think of that as an invitation for collective reflections and connection. And today, my invitation is this. If you will, bring your struggles to our mindful gathering, bring your whole self, and spend some time to deeply experience the full spectrums of your feeling and experiment with this bitter medicine called Five Remembrance together as a community. Okay, to experience the full spectrum of our feelings, we must spend some time practicing gazing inward, and you just did that. So, good news. If you're here, you've at least meditated once. And this practice is so beautiful because it cultivates our self knowledge and awareness. And this is my self awareness, the self awareness regarding the lessons of impermanence. And I like to give 4 anchor points for myself, and every time I teach meditation, that helps me to really dive deep into what's going on in my inner world. And those are sensations, emotions, action urges, and thoughts. Conveniently, acronym is SEAT, SEAT, like seating meditation, SEAT. So this is my self-awareness I wanted to share. In the circumstance I'm in, where I almost said immortality, mortality that is becoming more visible. I've been noticing a few things. I'm tight in my shoulders a lot as I'm thinking about the loss of my brother, and I've been noticing that my mind likes to drift away, thinking some dark thoughts. Um, and so I would label that as thoughts, and tightness in the shoulder is sensations. Heartaches, sensations slash emotions. And sometimes like these voices visit me that are trying to persuade me from kind of pull me away from those difficult thoughts and feelings, like, every cloud has a silver lining, count your blessings. Or should I eat this whole pint of ice cream? That voice visits too. um Ben and Jerry Americone, anyone? The salted pretzel pieces and caramel will take away my pain, right? Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not demonizing ice cream. I'm not demonizing positive thinkings. They're kind of without those approaches for sure. And sometimes we count our blessings when things are really hard. Sometimes we redirect our attentions to look at aspects of our life that is going smoothly. Sometimes we eat ice cream. Definitely time and space for that. But I wanted to invite the less popular way of soothing our hearts, the 5 remembrances. And today I'd like to invite us to recite it together. And together is better because the teaching of 5 remembrances, at least to me, can be a little bit bitter. That's why I like to kind of rewrite the 5 remembrances, which is often written in I sentences, into we sentences. We are in this together. So, Paul, I'm going to be sending you through the chat. If you will share this screen share it for us, I would very much appreciate it. And let me know when it's done, because I'm not super sure. So the invitation here is that we read this together. And notice what's unfolding within you. Really gaze deeply within feeling of safety, sensations, emotions, action urges, and thoughts. So that is my invitation. And yeah, thank you, Paul. So watch what's unfolding within you, and let's read together. 1. We're of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. 2. We're of the nature to have ill health. There's no way to escape having ill health. 3. We're of the nature to die. There's no way to escape death. 4. All that is dear to us and everyone we love is of the nature to change. There's no way to escape being separated from our loved ones. 5. Our actions are our only true belongings. We must face the consequences of our actions. Our actions are the ground upon which we stand. Thank you so much, Paul. You can unshare if you will. So, how did that feel for you when you read this out loud or to yourself? I don't know, still bitter, still kind of hard for me to say this out loud. There's this awesome magazine called Lion's Roar. And if you Google, this will come up. There's this essay called Buddhism's Five Remembrances, Our Wake-Up Call for Us All. Kuhn France writes that these five remembrances has been passed down for a long time. Let me see if I can say this word right. Upajjhana Sutta, Subjects for Contemplation Sutra. And, the first three are the reason Siddhartha left his palace to cultivate his practice and eventually become Buddha. So these are big questions, and they're meant to be recited repeatedly and intended to be memorized. So I think the benefit of reflecting and chanting this regularly is that it can help us to clear the distortion through which we see the world. Because, for me, it's really easy to forget that I'm a mortal being and make decisions based on this kind of abstract idea of time and sense of self. And this practice can help us really see the world and our vulnerability clearer, and see the world beyond the distortion of our fears and dislikes, because we got that out of the way, and take actions based on more upright, clear perception. I mean, you would have experienced it too, I believe. It really helps us to reprioritize our entire life when we face health crisis, loss of loved ones, facing the consequences of our choices, and the thoughts of our mortality. So this is really useful thing to keep remind ourselves of, even if it's not the most pleasant thing to keep reminding ourselves, perhaps. So I also wanted to add a few thoughts on applying the five remembrances to our daily life for a harmonious life. I use these five remembrances when I'm going through a rough patch with my partner, when I'm finding myself resenting my parents or disappointed by my friends, because it somewhat clears my head when I'm reminding myself, instead of fighting. You too struggle with aging, ill health, loss of loved ones, consequence of your actions, and we all die. Morbid, but this bitterness is so beneficial. My friend who studies Ayurveda medicine, Indian medicine that works with constituents and all the stuff that I can't quite get into deeply, said American cuisine rarely celebrates the bitter flavor, but it's so good. I think she said it's good for your liver, especially. And it's an acquired taste. I'm trying to see, I think some of you who are foodies, maybe Dana, maybe Sandra, if you had a plate of stir-fried bitter melons in a Chinese restaurant, it's good stuff. At first, it's shocking. Whoa, a platter full of bitter vegetables, so bitter that it has to be soaked in salt for hours, and it's still bitter, and that's what you're eating it for. So I think of bitterness of the five remembrances, if you don't already have it as a practice, it's an acquired taste. But I'm not asking you to start chowing down a whole platter of bitter melon and the five remembrances if that's not what you're comfortable with. That's not what you're comfortable with yet. I don't believe in powering through against our inner urges. I personally think being gentle with ourselves is the best way of engaging our mind, body, and soul. So this is where I wanted to invite in a well-known song by a very famous flying nanny A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. So to me, creativity is the sugar. As I often say during the 4:30 p.m. Music time before our gathering on Sundays, come early to enjoy the talented musicians offering, little plug in and shout out. Um, I believe that we can find spiritual wisdom and beauty in music. And um, I will be sharing these three songs that help me to remind myself to kind of practice with the five remembrances, because I don't know about you, it's kind of hard for me to sometimes make a chanting practice with Buddhist teaching in my private time, which is why I come to Dallas Meditation Center. So these are the three songs that I wanted to share with you. And I'll be singing it to you. And the invitation for you is treat these songs like you did with the five remembrances, noticing and watching the sensations, emotions, action urges, and thoughts. Again, sensations being physical sensations, like, oh, like tingly, oh, like tightness. Emotions being, sadness, whatever it may be. Action urges, I want to get out of here. That's welcome too. And thoughts. What are the association that comes to you as you hear these three non-spiritual songs that are great gateway to five remembrances to me, and hopefully to you too. And just watch how you feel. Do you realize that you have the most beautiful face? Do you realize we are floating in space? Do you realize that happiness makes you cry? Do you realize that everyone you know someday will die? And instead of saying all of your goodbyes, let them know you realize that life goes fast. It's hard to make the good thing last. You realize the sun doesn't go down, just an illusion caused by the world spinning around. That one's called Do You Realize by the Flaming Lips. Second song. I love my mom. I love my father. When it's time to go, I need you to know, love you home. Oh, oh, oh. This is called Love You All by Cloud Cult. The next one. Everybody here is a cloud. Everybody here would evaporate, 'cause we came up from the ground. From a million little pieces, have you found where your place is? Have you found where your place is? Have you found where your place is? You've been spending your time thinking about why you think so much. If there ever was time, now will be the time to see your time here is limited. Everybody here is a crowd. We all walk around with a million faces. Somebody turned the lights out. There is so much more to see in the darkest places. In the darkest places. In the darkest places. I hope this stirred up something in you, whether that be sensations, emotions, action urges, thoughts, associations. Let's take a deep breath, making space for your inner unfolding. Just like engaging with art can help us really notice the ache that we might be carrying and remind ourselves of the teachings of impermanence, even outside the Buddhist context. I think creativity is this beautiful agent that opens you up and helps you to see what you carry. And another thing that I believe that can help you to open up and really see clearly what you've been carrying and remind ourselves of the teachings in a deeper sense is connection with another mindful being. It can really help you integrate what we learned but didn't quite put into words or quite integrated into our heart. And in that spirit, optional, if you would rather be in your solitary space, you can place your hand on your heart and just keep your space. But if you will, let's make a group of 3 and chat with one another. Again, sharing is optional. You can join the group and just listen into. And it's my belief that experimenting with group reflection is also a great way of really taking in any teachings. And if you're called to chat, if you're called to share, some suggestions is that you can share how you felt reading out loud the 5 remembrances, listening to the songs that I shared, what came to your mind, your favorite song that you think is like totally connected to the 5 remembrances, or anything else that arises as you share right then. You don't have to be prepared for the share portion. So Paul, like if you could do the breakout room for the Zoom people and bring us back around 6:45, and Michael, I might ask you to ring the bell once the Zoom people lands back so I can say my closing words. And hope everyone enjoy your reflection practice with one another. And take me away, Paul.